Hollow Manor waits. It remembers every laugh, every scream, every secret. And now, it wants its final revenge. Weeks had passed since Shadow's revenge. The unicorn feather burned softly in my pocket, a constant reminder, and a warning. I thought the nightmare was over. I thought I was safe. I was wrong. One night, the fog rose unnaturally, thick and gray, swallowing the streetlights one by one. Whispers filled my room. They weren't loud or aggressive, but soft, gentle. And that's what made them so deadly. The curse is not over, they sighed. A chorus of forgotten souls. I looked out my window. The street outside was twisting, bending into impossible shapes. The familiar buildings of my neighborhood warped as if made of wax. Shadows slithered along the walls. Long, inky tendrils stretching from the fog, reaching, crawling towards my window, towards me. Panic seized me. I had to get out. I grabbed my jacket, the unicorn feather warm against my skin, and ran. I ran past the contorting houses, past the grasping shadows, until I reached the edge of the forest that bordered my town. And there, emerging from the swirling mist, was Hollow Manor. It stood where there was nothing before, a monument of dread against the moonless sky. It was larger than I remembered, darker, and it felt alive. Its windows weren't just glass. They were rails, glowing with a faint, malicious light, watching my every move. The grand oak doors looked like a mouth, slightly agar, as if waiting to swallow me whole. The chimneys on its roof weren't still. They breathed, puffing out plumes of black smoke like the lungs of some great, sleeping beast. 1,000 whispers swirled around me, carried on the cold air, a cacophony of voices from the past. You cannot escape what you laughed away, they hissed. They were right. The manor was feeding on my fear, on my memories. It was calling me back. There was no running. With a deep breath that felt like my last, I walked forward. I entered. The moment I crossed the threshold, the door slammed shut, and the shadows inside wrapped around me like open arms, a cold, suffocating embrace. The manor welcomed me home. The floors were no longer solid wood. They shifted and swirled, becoming rivers of pure darkness that threatened to pull me under. The ceilings stretched impossibly high, disappearing into a void where chandeliers flickered like dying stars. And the walls whispered secrets I had never told anyone, my deepest fears spoken back to me in the voices of the dead. I navigated the distorted corridors, my heart pounding a rhythm of pure terror. I knew where I had to go. I found my way to the mirror room. The sight was paralyzing. Hundreds of mirrors lined the walls, and in each one was a reflection of me. But they weren't just reflections. They were screaming silently, their faces contorted in agony, their hands clawing at the glass, trying to reach me, to pull me in with them. In the center of the room, the grand piano began to play by itself. The melody was jarring, a symphony of chaos. The notes screamed, each one a shard of sound that formed a memory I had tried so desperately to forget. My failures, my regrets, my fears all played out in a horrific, discordant tune. Then, I saw movement outside the tall, arched windows. From the thick fog, creatures began to emerge. They were shadow beasts, twisted into shapes that defied nature, like human nightmares given form. Their eyes glowed with a malevolent red light, and their teeth were sharper than logic. They weren't just apparitions. They were solid, and they were hungry. With guttural snarls, they lunged at the windows, the glass groaning under their assault. Just as the first window shattered and a clawed hand reached through, the unicorn feather in my pocket glowed with an intense white-hot light. It wasn't burning me, but it was pulling me, yanking me away from the attacking beasts. The light grew brighter and brighter, until it was all I could see. I was thrown through the air, through a vortex of light and shadow, and landed hard on the cold floor of the final hall. The air here was different. It was still, ancient, and at the far end of the long corridor, the unicorn appeared. It wasn't a reflection in a mirror this time. It was real, standing there, its coat shimmering with cosmic light, its presence a stark contrast to the manor's oppressive darkness. Its voice was not a whisper, but a clear, melodic tone that filled my mind. "The curse can end, but only if you face it," she said. As she spoke, the shadows in the hall screamed in protest. They clawed at the walls, twisting into monstrous forms, trying to reach me, to stop me. But the feather's glow expanded, creating a protective barrier of pure light around me. The unicorn's horn began to pulse with a deep, resonant energy, and the entire manor began to shake. It was collapsing in on itself. Every hallway I had feared, every room that held a terrifying memory, shattered into dust. Every shadow I had run from dissolved into nothingness as the light touched it. The mirrors in the great room cracked, one by one, releasing the trapped, screaming reflections into the void, their silent cries finally fading away. The structure groaned, splintered, and fell apart. The unicorn lowered her horn towards me. The feather floated out of my hand and was drawn to the glowing tip, merging with it in a final, brilliant eruption of light that consumed everything. I awoke. Outside, the cool morning fog was gentle on my skin. Birds were chirping in the nearby trees. I was lying on the soft grass at the edge of the forest. The manor was gone, no towering structure, no glowing windows, no creeping shadows, no whispers. It was just gone. The unicorn feather lay in my hand, its light gone, feeling like a normal, harmless feather. I knew it could never hurt me again. The nightmare was truly over. But in the distance, as the sun began to rise, I saw a faint wisp of fog that didn't quite belong, and carried on the wind. I heard it. Faint laughter. Hollow Manor waits. Always. The shadows are gone. The curse is broken. But somewhere, the manor remembers you. And one day, it might return.